Okay, so my name is Edward Bevilacqua. So you should write that down on your book. Okay, so here's the thing to do for next week. Try to get something like this. So we've got Jason is prepared. He gets extra points for that. So this is the kind of book that you want to have, not a spiral bound book. We'll talk about that why. Not loose pieces of paper. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But try to just go to Walmart or get one of these books here, all right? Make sure you have a book in your pen. So my email is e.larson@larsontrainingcenters.com. You're going to need to write that down because you're going to need to send email. e.bevilacqua. So on your sheet here, it has my name. Okay, at larsontrainingcenters.com. Can't read it? Okay. Larson, Larson, training, training, centers.com. Who still doesn't have it? Okay, so we'll move on because I'll help you with that a little bit later. Okay, so Larson Training Centers is the best vocational school, career training school in the state of Nevada. Anybody here know what a career training school is?
Trains you for your career.
Okay, can you say that without using the words in the definition?
Okay. It gives you knowledge, information, and teaches you how to better your career path and whichever choices that you want to go.
Okay, so that's good. So it's a school for people who don't go to college generally, and they're older. So maybe they don't have their high school diploma, maybe they don't have their GED, but they have to be adults. So you have to be 18 to go to the school. So I'm the director of education for Larson Training Centers, which is the best career training school in the state of Nevada, with 87% placement rate. So it's higher than UNLV, higher than CSN, higher than Phoenix, higher than Toro, higher than any other adult school in the state of Nevada. And we have a campus in LA. We've been doing this since 1989. It's not that important that we have the highest rate in Nevada. It's where our students start. Our students at our school are in prison. So they get to leave prison to come to school, then they go back to prison at the end of the day. Our students are people who are given a choice by the judge to go to jail or go to school. Our students are people that got convicted of a misdemeanor. Does anybody know what a misdemeanor is? Okay, that means if you get convicted, it's less than a year in prison, they're in jail. So they're convicted of a misdemeanor, but they don't have any money to pay their fine. So they get the choice of going to school or sweeping streets and picking up garbage. Our students are people that are homeless. So they live at Catholic Charities or Salvation Army or other shelters for women. And so our people start at about a 5% chance of getting employment. So we go from 5% to 87%. And what's even more is we take everybody, anybody who wants to go to our school can go to our school as long as they have stable food, clothing, and shelter. So what does that mean? That means it's a lot easier having people who are very smart. And my understanding is all of you are pretty smart. Is that right? Are you smart? Okay. Who doesn't get A's here? Everybody get A's? Anybody get B's? Nobody gets a B? How many?
I got 2.
2. Okay, good. So our students are not like you. So this is going to be very good, but this is, think in terms of planting seeds. Does everybody know what that means? What does that mean, planting seeds? Okay, so like a farmer growing plants?
Yes.
Okay, so you plant seeds, right, in the dirt, and then they grow. So for some of you, you might not understand, you might not be ready to understand, but if you remember it, one day these seeds will take root and they'll grow. So I want to make sure that we thank Lily for setting this up, giving you the opportunity, and thank your parents for spending the money to be able to come here and go to this. You're very lucky to be having this opportunity. And we're going to go through this stuff a little bit later, because these are things that I think you want to know. But so, Johnson, when you build a house, where do you start? Grow?
Okay.
Where do you start building a house? How do you start building a house? Ground. Okay. So, and what is that called, a house? Foundation, right. You start with the foundation. So we're going to get into these, but we're going to start with the foundation of why we're here. All right? Now, you live now in a Western culture, society, right? How many of your parents were born here? Okay. 1, okay. Now, how many of you were born here? Okay. You were born here?
No, I mean, I was born in the United States, but not Las Vegas.
Okay, where were you born?
I don't know this. LA.
LA, okay. So, have you lived here the whole time?
No, I come here when I was 6 years old, and when I was 8 years old, I go back,
Okay.
and when I was 11, I come here.
And how old are you now? 12?
12,
15?
almost 13.
Okay, good. So, you now live in Western culture, right? But you're not, your family is not Western culture, it's what?
Asian.
Asian? Eastern culture, right? Let's just say Eastern, because it's best. So you have an advantage over other people because you have a background that other people in Western culture don't have. So what you want to do is you want to take what you know and be able to understand Western culture, and then you have an advantage. Did you get that? Did you understand? Okay, so here's one thing that's very important. First lesson for school goes to this. It's very important when you're in this, our culture here, when you're at school, is that you need to make sure the teacher understands that you know. What does that mean?
Asking questions.
Well, let's say that's one thing. But the other thing is just to nod your head to understand. Like, got it. So when I'm in a meeting, I'll always be saying, got it, got it, got it, got it. That doesn't work in class, right? If you have 30 kids all saying, got it, got it, got it, at the same time, it kind of sounds a little funny. But you need to let the teacher know that you understand what they're talking about. Because otherwise, it looks like this. Okay? Is that good or bad? Okay. So what is that called? What is this called? My nonverbal communication is called what? Okay, body language. Has everybody heard the term body language? So what does it mean if I say, it's really a nice day outside?
It's a mixed message.
Right, it's a mixed message. So when your teacher's talking to you and you're not doing this, it's a mixed message because they already know maybe your English isn't good enough to understand, right? So what do you need to do? Communicate that you understand. Okay? Who's shy in here? You're not shy. You're not shy. You're not shy. You're not shy. Are you shy?
No.
You look shy. Not shy?
I don't think I'm shy.
Good, good answer. How about you, Julia?
Sometimes.
Okay. How about you?
Sometimes.
Okay. So what we want to do is just put the shyness aside for right now, okay? Just pretend you're not shy. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself in a second. But this is what we call leadership camp. You might have thought that you were coming here to be able to communicate better in school, but this is leadership camp. And that's the foundation for being able to communicate better in school. There's three kinds of people, so you need to write this down. You really need to understand this. In the world, there are three types of people. Who knows what they are?
Huh?
Okay, okay, that's number three.
You say three.
Three types of people.
Asian, white, black.
No, forgot Hispanic. Not races of people, types of people.
I just keep.
No, no. Well, that's true too. Everybody falls into one of three categories when we're talking about work dealing with other people.
Optimistic.
No, you're overthinking. Okay. So, people who make things happen. Okay, what's number two?
People who watch things happen.
People who watch things happen. And what's number three?
Listen.
Listen? No.
People who wish things would happen.
Nope. Take a guess. Ilya, take a guess. People who make things happen, people who watch things happen, people who what?
Don't do anything at all.
Close. Okay. But you should get that the last two words are things happen. Not really though, it's not the case. That was just to confuse you. Huh?
Don't make things happen.
People who blank.
Don't know what happened.
Close. People who wonder what happened. Okay? People who wonder what happened. So when you go out in the world and you start seeing people, you're going to see people fall into three categories. People who make things happen, people who watch things happen, and people who wonder what happened. Okay? You don't want to be this person. Nobody in this room has an excuse for being this person because you're all too smart. At my other school, we have people who went to prison because of drug abuse. Their brain doesn't work very well anymore. If they're lucky, they can be at this stage. Okay? They can't be at this stage unless it's doing crimes, unless it's robbing somebody. So this is not good. You don't want to be somebody who wonders what happened. And you have an advantage. You have a couple advantages. What's one advantage that you have over other people who are not here?
We're still young.
Well, there's a lot of young people.
We have a stable family.
Stable family life. Okay, there's people who have a stable family life. What do you say? What advantages do you have over other people to be, let's say, here? Okay, number one, you're smart. Okay, and you have a supportive family. And you're Chinese. Is anybody here Taiwanese? Part. Okay. So do people say Asian or Chinese?
I usually just go with Asian, just not offend anybody.
Okay. So I have friends that are from Taiwan, and they don't like to be called Asian. They would rather be Chinese. Okay. Because there's other people that are Asian. So it's okay to just correct people and say I'm Chinese. And I think 80% of people in China are Chinese. Did you know that? It's one of the most pure race countries in the world. Huh?
There's a lot of them are really racist.
Racist?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Who are racist?
Chinese.
Well, okay, I don't want to talk about that. I don't agree, but I don't want to talk about that right now. That might come up next week. But it's certainly okay to say Chinese. No, just Chinese. Okay, so our goal in this week and the next 3 weeks is to get you to the point where you see yourself as this. You're somebody who makes things happen. And that springs from your body language, how you carry yourself. If you're like this, what is that body language mean? Not here in Las Vegas.
Uncomfortable.
Okay. Shy. Okay. So what you want to do is power posing. Are any of you familiar with TED Talks? Okay. So we're going to give you a list of TED Talks to watch between now and next week, and then after that, and after that, and after that. Okay. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So I was born in Oakland. Anybody know where that is?
Door.
Huh?
Door.
Oakland?
Door.
What's he saying?
In the woods.
No. It's in California. It's in the Bay Area. Does anybody know where that is? Near San Francisco, Chinatown. Okay. So I was born there, I grew up there, and I went to Santa Clara University, which is a Jesuit university. Anybody ever heard of Jesuit University? Anybody ever heard of Jesuit? Anybody familiar with that? Okay, so there's 28 Jesuit universities in the U.S. Number one is Georgetown. Anybody heard of Georgetown? No? Okay. Gonzaga, Loyola, Marquette, anyway, they're top universities. So the governor, so I went to Santa Clara. It's not an Ivy League university, but it's a Jesuit university. So the governor of California went to Santa Clara. The lieutenant governor of California went to Santa Clara. The former head of the CIA, Leon Panetta, went to Santa Clara under Obama, went to Santa Clara. The former head of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano, was in my class at Santa Clara. She was a classmate of mine. She's now president of the University of California. So this is a small university that has 4,000 students. And there's a disproportionate number of students from Santa Clara, graduates from Santa Clara, that are in high levels of government office. My point is only that I went to a good school. And my undergraduate degree was in finance. What's finance? What is finance? Okay, it has to do with money. So you're more thinking of accounting. What's accounting?
Keeping track of.
Keeping track of money. Money comes in, money goes out, it's creating financial statements. Finance has to do with what is money. Where does it come from? How do you get it? So that was my undergraduate degree. And I have a law degree also from a school in San Diego. So one of the things you're very lucky in is you're going to kind of get the type of education that you get if you went to law school. Now, when you are in school, the expectation is what? What's the expectation in middle school? You go to when you do homework, is it what you learned in class that day?
Yeah.
It's review and you follow up and you learn it? Okay, so when you get into college, they give you a sheet of paper that's a syllabus about what we're going to study this semester, and you're expected to learn it before the end. When you go to law school, how does it work in law school, do you think? What would you guess?
Yes, books.
Okay. So Jessica, how would you guess it works in law school? Just take a guess. Books. When you're in class, does the teacher go over stuff and then you come back the next day, or you do homework?
Yeah.
And you come back the next day and the teacher sees if you know it?
Yeah.
Okay, no. That was a trick question. No. In law school, you have a bunch of things that you read at night called cases. And you're expected when you show up for class, the teacher calls on you and says, tell me the issue behind this case, Smith versus Jones. And you're expected to know before class starts what's it all about. You have to teach yourself. And that's how real life works. So the sooner you understand that, the better it's going to be. The more helpful it'll be for you. So one of the things here is you're going to get exposed to that, is that you're prepared. So starting next week, we're going to do some stuff at the end. And next week when you come, the expectation is you'll be prepared. And then we'll talk about stuff, because it's not going to work here if I tell you stuff and then next week we have to review it, right? That doesn't work. Plus in life, that's not how life really is. When you go get a job, you're not going to have somebody teaching you how to do it. They're going to expect that you know what you're doing, and the higher up you get. So who's going to plans to go to graduate school? Who plans to go to graduate school after college? Okay. How about you? You're going to go in business? What are you going to do after college?
I don't know.
Okay, what are you thinking? What do you dream? What is your hopes?
Well, what does that take is graduate school exactly?
Okay, so graduate school, so when you go to high school, then you go where? College or university. And you get, what type of degree do you get? Okay, it's called an undergraduate degree. Okay, so that's a 4-year degree. And then, after that, when you go to get your master's, or your PhD, that's graduate school. Okay. So how many people plan to go to graduate school? Okay, how about you, Julian? Maybe. How about you?
Maybe.
Maybe. How about you? Okay. So one of the things is that we want you to just have an idea of what you want to do, have a plan, because you can always change the plan. But what if you don't have a plan? Okay, so here's a Chinese proverb. If you don't know where you're going, blank. Okay, so write this in. Okay, does anybody know what that symbol means?
Wait. Oh.
Okay, so in logic, that means then. Okay? If you don't know where you're going, then what?
You stumble around and like this.
Okay, that'll happen too. Well, what else? Okay, you guys give up? Everybody give up? Any? I thought you guys were Chinese. Path will take you there. Okay, if you don't know where you're going, any path will take you there. Okay? Okay, so what do the Navy SEALs say? Has anybody here heard of Navy SEALs? One? How many people have heard of Navy SEALs? Elia, have you heard of Navy SEALs? Johnson? No? No? Yes? Navy SEALs? No? Okay, so they are special forces in the Navy. They are the most elite American fighting people. So the Navy SEALs have a thing that says, but if you don't know what? If you don't know what? Where you are, you can't get there anyway. Is that true? Think about it. Is it true? If you don't know where you're starting, if you don't know where you are, you can't get there anyway? What's the highest peak in China?
No. It's kind of.
Okay, that most people think of as in China. Okay. Does anybody know the highest peak in China? All right, let's just say we're trying to get to Mount Everest. If you don't know where you're starting from, can you get there?
Pretty high, tall. I mean, you can try.
So you
you can try.
It's like the Luxor, just look up and see the light. Okay, so you can't get there. So the Navy SEALs do an exercise where they put people in a helicopter, they blindfold them, they fly around for a couple hours, and then they land them, and they take the blindfold off, and they say, okay, now you need to get back to the base.
Oh, no.
But you don't know if you're north, west, south, or east of the base. So a compass isn't really going to help you, right? Do you know what compass is? Compass? How would you say compass in Chinese? Huh? How do you say it? Do you know what that is? Okay. So a compass doesn't help you, right?
If you know the points of the sun.
But you don't know
No, but
where
you
the
don't know
place
where the
is.
base is. Or where they started from.
Right. Okay? So you need to know two things. So in your life, you need to know where you want to go, but you need to know where you're starting. If you don't know where you're going, you're just wasting time. It's better to have a plan and change your plan than to say, well, you know what, one day I'll have a plan. Correct. Why do you need plan B and plan C?
In case plan A doesn't work.
Okay, so so yeah, I'm trying to remember the law of power that has to do with that. Oh yeah, you need to have plan B and plan C because no plan survives contact with the enemy. Right? No plan survives contact with the enemy. But anyway, here's two important things to know. You need to have a plan. So part of our leadership camp is for you, some point, planting seeds. These might not take root today. They might not take root this year, maybe not next year. But you need to have a plan, and you need to know where you're starting. And you can change your plan. The Navy SEALs say, we'll change our plan like that, for a better planet. Okay. Where does Western civilization start? Who starts? What's the start of Western civilization? What culture?
The Eastern
No.
came over.
What's the start of Western culture? Western civilization. Where does it start? You guys haven't had a class in Western civilization yet?
I've had history.
Okay. So where does Western civilization start?
It's not here, is it? It's,
Here?
yes, well, I mean America. The American.
America? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's,
Okay. It starts with the Greeks.
okay.
Okay. Started with Greek philosophy. Who's the most important Greek philosopher?
Other Greeks.
Ah,
Oh, is Aristotle?
so you say Aristotle?
There's also another one.
Yeah, there's lots of dudes.
And who is Aristotle's teacher?
Well,
Who? Who?
There's, their names are so hard to remember.
Plato.
Yes.
oh,
Okay.
Plato.
Who is Aristotle? Who's Plato's teacher? Correct.
Is his hangman?
Who could be? Think could be hung. Okay. What else? E. Good.
So with the vowels, oh.
ah,
Sophocles. No. No, that's not even.
yes, yes.
T.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Oh, something.
oh, that's old.
Okay.
Social.
Oh, there's two S's.
Young.
R.
Oh, it is.
Socrates. Right. Okay. So, an important thing to know that will make you look good, because perception is 99% of what it is to know who is the first real identified philosopher in Western civilization, Socrates. And his student was Plato. And his student was Aristotle. And who was his student? Alexander the Great. Okay? And this all took place about 500 BC to 300 BC. That's the start of Western civilization. But the Greeks lost it because they were fighting against each other. Who were the two Greek city-states, important ones?
Sparta?
Sparta.
Athens.
Athens, right, good. Athens versus Sparta. Okay? Nobody really won. They ultimately lost. And that's when the Greeks, when Western civilization moved out of Greece. What is the big things that the Athenians introduced? Nope.
No.
Democracy.
Correct. Good. Excellent. Democracy. But why doesn't it work?
I learned about this in game.
You forget.
But it was in 5th grade.
And you need to remember. I learned about it in high school. I still remember. That was 40 years ago. You can't remember 4?
I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
That's okay. That means your brain is working.
Is it because people always want to go higher?
Well, the problem with the democracy is people don't really want to know the issues. Okay, they vote for the wrong reason. So when elections happen here, what do you start seeing all over the streets? No.
Vote.
Signs, right?
Yeah.
Vote for me. They have a pretty picture of themselves on it.
Yes, and then like 2 words.
Yeah, okay. So people don't vote because they know who it is. They vote because of who has the most signs out, or who's spending the most money on TV. Okay, so the Greeks lost it, and they were replaced by who? The Romans, right? The Romans. Okay. And Rome
They're beautiful.
is not like China. It went from 753 BC to, I think, 1340, I'm going to say 43 AD. So over 2,000 years. Now, this was in the east, Constantinople. The Roman Empire split into 2 parts, the Eastern Empire and Western Empire. So what we have, so what the Romans did is they said, we don't want to have a democracy because it doesn't work. So they introduced what? So those things you need to, SPQR. Okay, the Romans introduced a republic. So this was the Senate and people of Rome. They created a republic. And that's what our country is, right? We have a republic. China's a republic, right? People's Republic of China. Okay, so it's a republic. They don't let the people vote. Okay, so you have an advantage. One of the advantages that you have, one of the reasons you should be group 1, people who make things happen, is because you're smart. Another reason is you have the two top cultures going for you. You have your genetics and your conditioning from your parents of your Chinese culture, which goes back how far? Okay, very far, like 10 years, a million years, a million years. Okay, so one thing you wanted to learn is your Chinese culture. And now you're in a Western culture civilization. So you have the opportunity to learn that. And if you master both, you win. So, but back to me. So I have a law degree, didn't practice law. I went to law school for the same reason people take karate classes. Why do they do that? Self-defense, right. Okay, so that's why I went to law school. Because I don't think people should make money off of other people's misfortune. And that's how attorneys make money, most attorneys. You have a problem, you pay me, I fix your problem. That's okay for some people, that's not what I want to do. That's not my goal. But I think it was important to be well educated. And you have the benefit of that. And so a lot of what we're going to do is like in law school. Now the other thing that we do at our school, and I'll give you copies of these, is we publish a magazine. This is published by the students at the school. So you are lucky, oops. That Ciao tutti. So that means hello everyone in Italian. So this magazine is for people who are Italian American, whose grandparents or parents, or they came from Italy. And what I think would be great, if anybody here wanted to get into an Ivy League school, one way to get into an Ivy League school, because you have to have good grades, you have to have all A's, but you have to have more than that. And one opportunity is anybody that wants to be an entrepreneur would be to start a magazine for Chinese American students. national magazine. Okay? So this is something else that our school students do at our school. Now I'm also going to give you these, 2, 4, 6, 7. And we have some things that we need to do in here. So we have some assignments. Okay. So our students get this book. All of our students get this book. So is it break time?
Almost.
Okay, so we'll break in about 2 or 3 minutes. So all of our students get this book. This is the greatest book you'll ever have. This has all of the secrets that you want to know. Okay? So it starts off with what American kids learn as nursery rhymes growing up. So, Ariana, did you learn these?
Yes, most of them I see.
Okay. So,
No idea.
No idea.
how about,
I know Mary had a little lamb.
okay, good, that's the only one you know? You don't know this little
I
page?
know Humpty Dumpty.
You don't know the one on page 8?
Page 8.
So here's what happens. Our students have to earn this book. Okay, we'll see who can earn the book. So what we want you to do during the break is to memorize the poem on page 13.
You want those?
I never saw.
It's only 4 lines.
And that was a to see.
I'd rather see.
Okay? So we have to learn that. We'll go, when we come back from break, we're going to see who does it. Then at the end, after our school goes for 16 weeks, at the end, our students, because we practice this stuff, they learn to do the one on page
These are some.
103. Go to page 103.
I tried to read this when I was in 4th grade.
Darn!
Oh,
And
really?
Not yet.
Oh,
And then I lost the
I
book.
don't like English either.
Ah,
I love
you
Shakespeare.
you need to learn it.
I
Oh,
couldn't read it when I was in
Oh my God.
Because I learned Shakespeare theater.
Okay, so this is what our students do, is they start it back at nursery school, memorizing these things. And they work every week, they have to memorize a new one. And what we do is we do it on Fridays on YouTube, live on air. So they have to recite it. So you'll be able to go see what our students do. And you'll see how much advantages you have over them. Okay, so we're going to take a break now. But when we come back, we're going to start with this, the purple cow. Okay? And and everybody who gets everything done in the next 4 weeks, I'll sign your book for you. Okay? This is my name. Yeah, these are your books.
You'll become famous. This
But it becomes worth more if I sign it.
Yes.
Okay? But you have to earn it. Okay? I'm a little bit worried about you.
I'm starting my
Johnson.
library.
So this book is all of the important things that kids in Western civilization learn. And if you know these, this gives you another advantage. Okay? So when we come back, we're going to do this, and we're going to go into these questions. Okay, now, Shakira, what question do you have?
I don't
You have to
know.
ask a question. You can't leave.
About what?
Anything.
Do we have to memorize this poem after break?
During break.
Oh, shoot.
Do you have it memorized already?
My memory is bad.
No, it isn't. So
Oh,
you
it's
gotta stop
okay.
the negative talk. If you tell yourself it's bad, it's going to be bad. Okay. Question.
Why do you have to memorize that?
Because this is part of the class. So your parents are paying for that. Okay, for you to improve. best you can be. I have confidence in you.
What are we gonna do after we memorize?
We're going to recite it,
Okay.
okay?
Does it have to be a question about this?
No?
You already asked a question.
Oh, I done.
Yeah, okay, Pat, next.
What?
Next. Thanks for playing, okay?
I
Question?
don't know. How do you read your last name?
Huh?
How do you read your last
Okay, good question.
name?
So my last name is Italian. In English, it's pronounced Bevel Aqua. So it rhymes with devil.
I'll say again.
Bevel Aqua.
Yeah.
Rhymes with devil.
You just asked this question.
Ah, okay. So we're back on this question. Okay, Bevel Aqua. So it rhymes with devil.
And then
It literally means drink water. Okay, so how would you say that in Chinese?
喝水
Drink water.
喝水
水
喝水
喝水
喝水哎呀
Okay, but it doesn't really mean that. It's an expression that means refreshing. Like a glass of water is refreshing. So how would you say refreshing in Chinese?
Refreshing.
Something's refreshing.
No idea.
Okay, Ilya, how would you say that, refreshing in Chinese?
Refreshing.
Refreshing. Like the drink is refreshing. Okay. Can you ask Ilya in Chinese how to say refreshing?
What the?
Somebody ask her because she doesn't understand English, but she knows the answer.
清爽
清爽。
清爽
清洁。啊？
清爽
清
Is
爽。
that right?
I'm
Is
using
that right?
it sounds better.
Okay. So you've got to ask another question, Johnson,
Why?
because he went out of turn.
Why?
Because I was answering that question. But that's not your question.
Why?
That's not your question.
More than one word answers.
Come on, impress us.
Why do I have to?
You have leadership.
I took a leadership class in middle school, but all we did was
How much about this
make
book?
decorations.
How much?
For dances.
How much about the
Organize
book?
the
Like-
dances. I guess we did. Not this long.
I don't have question to ask.
Just ask one question.
Just any question.
Any
Do you
question.
like blue? What about chicken? Why did the chicken cross the road?
Ah!
Break that. Come on.
Phone a friend.
Hurry up. Just one question. You've been asking questions all morning.
Me when I'm taking tests. How do you make the book?
How many class we have?
4. Good. Okay, Ilya,
Finally.
do you want a test?
I know you want.
All lights? Yes. Okay, let's go on break. Purple cow.
Purple cow.
Who knows the purple cow already?
Purple cow.
Do you know it already?
Okay.
Never saw purple cow, I never heard the sea one. But I can tell you anyhow, I rather see the
I'd
video.
rather-
Okay, good.
I
So
never
let's take
saw-
our break.
I
Take
never
our break
s-
and we'll come back. So what you should do on break is walk around.
Uh-huh.
You know that. Okay.
Life is hard. Life is hard.
It's hard.
Life is hard.
Yeah, we'll just have water.
Oh, and cool.
Okay.
That way you have to wake up. I can tell you anyhow, I'd rather see the video. I'd rather see the people. I never saw them in car, I never hope to see them. But I can tell you anyhow, I'd rather see the view. I'd rather see the view.
说了，说了。
So proud of myself.
I never hope to see. I never hope. I never hope to see. Oh.
I never saw the crowd,
I never.
but I can tell you anyhow.
I never hope to see one.
It works for me. And everybody's like calling me like, hey, you want to hear my speech? It's like, oh, I didn't even start it. Oh. I did. It was so I as they were telling me their speech was I am really proud of the festival. I was doing 30 minutes work in 8 hours, and 8 hours worth of food. So, I'm really proud. I never hope to see one, but I think it's going to do anyhow. I'd rather see the views.
Oh.
Said that's that, right?
Oh.
You don't need to say that fast.
No idea.
No idea. Good job. I'd rather do.
给我讲讲这个
老师呢？
这些讲的怎么样了？
还好，
这都讲什么了？
是在讲那个光宇老师的事情。
啊？
光宇老师还有老师叫我们记一个 poem。
说吧。
poem。记短文。
那有讲这个吗？
啊没有，他说等一下短文背完以后 break
什么是短文呀？
13篇。
是什么？
The Google Count。
是什么意思？
嗯？
是什么意思 ？I never
saw a Google Count。
I never go.
老师叫我们记这个，我不知道为什么。
这是什么呢？
这个是老师给我们的 magazine 啊。
要干嘛呢？
老师没说干嘛。
这是哪个？这是什么东西呢？
这点 notes。
这写的什么呢 ？People。
老师的名字什么的，还有3种人。
什么人呢
？3种不一样的人。
哦，什么人呢 So so you will go through this.
Yeah, now we're gonna go through this.
So they got the chance to practice.
They will have a chance to practice.
Yeah, because I already post this online. So
Good.
all the students
Oh, good.
and all the teacher, all the parents, they study.
Good, good. Okay, everybody. Okay, let's come back.
Let's come back.
But
That's the
I can tell you anyhow, I'm ready to visit. I'm ready oh. I'm ready see everyone.
Okay, let's see. Where is
She left us.
Shakira?
She ditched us.
No.
I thought we had something.
Come back.
So we're gonna do it this way. First line, second line, third line, fourth line. First line, second line, third line. I'll do the
Wait,
fourth.
first line?
Okay, so just do one line. First line.
I never saw a vocab.
I never hope to see one.
But I can tell you anyhow.
I'd rather see the B one.
Good. Start over.
So the
First one?
the first line.
I never saw it from a cop.
I never hope to see one.
Yeah, but I can tell you anyhow.
I'd rather see than be one. Good job, everybody.
Yay!
Good job. Okay, so next week, so I'll give you some stuff for next week later, but we're now going to talk about these very important questions.
Which will add one more.
Which one?
If you want to correct.
Okay. Okay, so one of the laws of power is power perceived is power achieved.
I prefer music.
Okay? So what does that mean?
Oh, okay. Well, like power perceived, power achieved. Like if you perceive it a certain way, then you can make it that way. So if you're optimistic and you
No.
think that it's
Thanks for playing.
Thanks for playing.
Who's this from the perspective of? From the perspective of who?
Yourself, your
No.
consciousness.
Okay, so that's the thing. So the key thing is perceived. So that would mean the other person. If they perceive that you have power, then you have power.
So they think you have power to do that.
Power perceived, right, okay, is power achieved. So when you're communicating with other people, you need to act confidently because power perceived comes from having confidence. Okay, not that you're saying, can I go to the bathroom? Okay. That doesn't work, right? Because you're doing what?
Wouldn't it be may I?
Well,
Oh, you're on
No.
top doing.
that was what right there.
Police.
Police.
Police, please.
Okay, so all of these questions come down to not just what you say, but how you say it. That's the important thing. Not just what you say, but how you say it. And you want to come across as being sincere and authentic and trustworthy. Because what happens if you're not trusted?
You're not alone. You're not given as much freedom.
Yeah, people are suspicious of it. They think there's always something else going on. Okay? So that's the common thing with all of these questions, is that you have to ask with confidence and respectfully. And so what's the first question?
Which your teacher?
Shakira.
You meet your teacher every morning.
Okay? So what were we talking about earlier in terms of body language with how you shouldn't be, or how you should be in class?
Smiling.
Nonverbal communication, right? What do I usually say? No, what do I usually say? I said, here's what I usually say, but it wouldn't work if everybody in class did that.
Oh, got it.
Got it, right, okay. So that doesn't work for you to say that, but you can do that nonverbally. How would you do that nonverbally? Not, a little bit more subtle. Just with your chin. Okay, not your whole body. Okay, not that. So it's important to acknowledge your teacher when you come into the class. Morning, teacher. You're just acknowledging them, you're not asking them a question. Now, has anybody asked you, how are you today, or how are you? Do they actually want to know how you are?
No.
No.
No, not really.
No.
Just give, like,
It's just a
one
greeting. Okay, good morning, teacher. Now, what's the right answer if your teacher says, how was your weekend?
Good.
Good.
How was
No.
yours?
Wrong.
It was pretty good. You described it how you was.
No, that's not what your teacher wants to hear.
I missed you.
That's good. Okay. The best answer is too long. Too long.
Too long.
Oh.
But your teacher is lying.
Huh? What?
But that would be lying in some circumstances.
Well, it should be too long. Okay. So what your teacher wants to hear is too long. I'm glad to be back. Okay, I'm happy to be here. Because what happens if you're interested in somebody, what are they going to be? If you're interested in somebody, what are they going to be? Probably. Huh? Interested in you.
What?
If you're interested in somebody, they're probably going to be interested in you. Okay, let me ask it a different way. If you're nice to people, how will they probably be towards you?
Nice.
Right.
Unless they're
Okay,
dangerous.
so what is that called?
Treating people how you want to be treated.
Well, sort of. Okay, so here's the thing to know. This is very important. Reciprocity, what is that?
Isn't that reciprocation?
What is reciprocation?
Like giving somebody something like you're
Okay.
giving something else.
Like returning.
Yeah.
Okay, reciprocity is what they give you, you give back. So if you are nice, people are generally nice to you. If you respect other people, they do what, Shakira?
What?
They do what? If you respect people, what do they generally do to you?
Like,
Yeah, they respect you back. So, question number one, you meet your teacher in the morning, you should just say good morning. Not woulda, don't say that, just good morning. Don't give signs.
Oh, you want to write on these?
Mhm. You should write everything down because our brains do not remember.
No.
Our brains are not designed to remember these. You should go out of your way when you go into every class to say hello to your teacher. Just hi teacher. Hello, Miss Jones. Good morning. Good afternoon. Because that way they'll also remember you. And they're going to think that you care. If you don't care, they're not going to care. Can't they'll care more about you. Okay, what if you're late for class?
I'm sorry.
Okay. So what do teachers not want to hear?
Excuses.
Exactly. They don't want to hear excuses. Don't get in the habit of making an excuse. You have to do what they call own it. I apologize. Won't happen again.
oh, like that.
Okay, so now let's see. Ariana, what is question number 3?
You ask the teacher a question during the class.
Okay. So what would you expect on how you should do this?
Excuse me.
Raise your hand.
Okay, now see, Johnson brought up a very good point. Don't ever say excuse me.
No.
You want people to respect you.
Like raise your hand.
Okay, so that would be one thing. Just raise your hand, raise it, What does this mean? Is this the same thing?
No.
Is this the same? Is this?
Hello.
Is this the same?
No.
Is this the same? What does this mean?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Huh? What?
Preparing a jump ball.
Huh? Okay. Okay, if I do
In
this,
basketball.
if there's a question is asked, I do this. Or if I have a question, I do this. What does that mean to the teacher? What's the perception?
You have a question. You have something to say.
Yeah, it's important. Okay, I want you to pay attention to me. I have something to say. Now, what if I do this? What if I do this?
Stop.
What does that mean? Huh? Yeah. Okay. In law school, I told you you have to be prepared before class starts. And so the teacher is trying to figure out who to call on because everybody's supposed to be ready. So let's turn this kind of around. And what if you don't want to be called on? What do?
Look confident. Look like you know it, so they'll pick someone else who doesn't look like they know
Okay,
it.
great answer. Okay, what you don't want to do is this or this. Okay, because now that's in law school. In your school, they might not want to do that, but in law school, they're training people to be attorneys to represent people who might lose their freedom. So you have to be prepared. In your school, they might be afraid of embarrassing. So if you look away in school, that might tell the teacher, okay, I don't want to call on that person because I don't want them to be embarrassed. But that's not for you people. Because you people should be prepared because you are smarter, right? There's only one person here who gets B's. Okay. So, what?
B for best.
B for best.
B for bonus.
So you want to ask the teacher a question. You want to make sure that the teacher gets that you have a question. Just raise your hand. And sometimes it's different, depending upon your teacher. You don't want to be two. Okay. Now the other thing that happens is, have you ever done this? You have a question for your teacher. The teacher sees you raise your hand. The teacher's talking. You keep doing this. The teacher's talking. It's like you forgot that they already know that you have a question. Right? Do you think the teacher forgot?
No.
Do you keep doing this because you think they forgot?
No.
Why? Why do you do it?
They don't.
Because they might think you don't want to ask the question.
Not
Okay. No, okay. So I'll tell you a little secret. They didn't forget that you would still have a question. They don't think that you changed your mind. If it's a good teacher, okay, and you should have good teachers. So you should think that they know, but you're keeping your eye contact with them. And so when the teacher pauses, if they don't call on you, then you just a quick little like that, so they know you didn't change your mind. That's a very important thing. Now, next week, we're talking about other students, right? Okay, so you don't want other students to think you're always raising your hand. I have a daughter that's in the 10th grade, starting 10th grade at Coronado, and she has had a habit of always raising her hand for every question. And the teacher likes it, but the other students don't like it because they think she's doing what? Showing off. Okay, they think she's showing off. She just likes the class. Okay, question number 4 for Jessica. What's question number 4?
You asked the teacher not sure whether she had your opinion.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Your opinion differs.
What?
Your opinion differs from the teacher's.
Thank you, Jessica.
Sorry.
So what does that mean, Jessica? So if you did this is if you disagree with the teacher, this question, is that what this question means? You got to do this. Don't look away. And we got to practice. So here's how our brains work. Our brains are very good at taking in information from all over the place through our senses. How many senses do we have?
5.
No. According to Stanford, we have about 10 senses now. Okay. So our brains are very good at taking in senses from all over places, but they're not designed to retain information. So it's very important that you're giving feedback to your instructor on how things are going. Because your instructor is going to know you're not going to remember. If you're not writing it down, you're not going to remember. You will forget 70% of what we do here unless you review this. You review your notes. And what happens if you don't have notes? Yeah, because what? That's what our brains are designed to do. We're not like a computer hard drive. We're not like the cloud. But that's why we are taping this, so that you'll be able to watch it later to review, because it's important. Because why, if you learn something and you forget it, what is that like?
You didn't learn it.
Yeah, like you don't even know it. Okay? And again, our brains are designed to gather a lot of information, but we don't keep stuff that we don't care about. So you have to get yourself to care about it. If you're emotional, you always remember something. Can you think of something that when you got a gift you really liked when you were 3, 4?
Yes. I still have it.
Okay. Can you think of a gift you received when you were young that you really liked? Okay. Shakira, can you?
Yes.
Okay. And see, when you think about it, you smile. Right? You remember that. You don't remember little things because they're not important. So, so feedback is very important. Now, you have a different opinion from your teacher. So my youngest daughter, who's going to be in the 7th grade at Baltimore, she asked the question to the teacher, and she didn't like the answer. It was about anthropods or something, whatever that is. And the teacher didn't answer the question. So she said to the teacher, "My question still stands." What do you think of that answer? What do you think of that answer? Would you say that? No. Why? Because what?
Maybe if you know that they're a really easygoing teacher.
Huh?
Maybe if you know that they're an easygoing teacher and they won't mind.
Okay. Now, if you're in law school, do you think that's a legitimate statement? Yes, it is. It's very legitimate because you have to be able to articulate your feelings. I think it was a kind of on the edge question. But I will tell you what would happen if you do that. Your teacher will let all of the other kids know, hey, you know what happened? We were talking in class, Shakira asked a question, I didn't really answer the question, and she said, "Teacher, my question still stands." And that teacher will go back to the other teachers with pride of saying, I have a student in my class that really gets it. Okay? So this week, you're not going to be ready to answer that, but I think by the end of week 4, you would be ready to ask a question like that. My question still stands. Okay, your teachers don't want you to just go along. They want you to ask good questions. Okay, and if you ask it sincerely, that you really want to know, not like, hey, you're wrong, I think you're wrong, not like that. If you ask that question, that teacher is going to go home and they're going to tell their husband or their wife, I really had a good question in class. They want you to do well. That's why they're there. Okay, question number 5. This is a Johnson question. What is it?
Don't
Class
ask.
is finished.
The class is finished. Okay, can we go? So it's very important that your teachers try to keep things on time. How are we doing? So we have 11 minutes. Okay? It's very important. So, but you don't want to be the person to say, can we go now?
Yeah.
You want somebody else to be a moron.
Can't wait for teachers to see you next week.
You want somebody else to ask that question. You want the teacher to perceive you as what? Wanting to stay. Okay? You want to be perceived as somebody who wants to stay. So I would never ask the question of, can we go? Is class done? I wouldn't ask that question. Okay, so Ilya, question number 6. How do you say you forgot your homework? Okay. So do you guys ever forget your homework?
No?
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, why?
Didn't grab it.
Okay. Okay, so the big thing is, just if you forgot your homework, just get it over with quickly. Sorry, I forgot my homework, I left it on the counter. They're gonna hate it, there's no good reason to forget your homework, but it does happen. Okay, don't make a bigger deal of it than it is.
Ah.
All right, so what are you thinking, Johnson? Unfair score? Is that which one you're looking
No,
at?
you probably wrote it in the wrong place.
You think he gave you what do you say if your teacher gave you an unfair score? Did you do this?
Why? No, no.
You can try.
You ask why respectfully.
I guess I would go to them and ask their reasoning for making my grade this way, and then if I like the answer, I would I'd be like, thank you, and then apologize, walk away. If I don't, then I'd continue to wonder how and why.
And ask if you're doing anything to change this.
Okay. So it's always good. I have taught my kids to always, at the beginning of the semester, ask if they can do extra work. Not credit, extra work. Can I do extra work? And what I say to my teacher is if my kids don't do extra work, they're going to get bored and they're not going to get good grades. Yes? Was that a question?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let's do this.
Well, when I asked my teacher about my score,
Okay, move your hand away.
she seemed to not happy about I asked her that question.
Okay. So a lot of teachers won't because they think that you're being what? Disrespectful, right? So you have good teachers, you have bad teachers. The state, this is not known for having good teachers. So you might have a bad teacher and you might be in the right and they're in the wrong, that they made a mistake, and they're not going to want to feel that you're disrespecting them. So the best strategy is at the beginning of a semester to always ask if you can do extra work. Okay, so we can't do anything about the past, right? Does anybody watch Doctor Who here? Okay, so we don't have a TARDIS. We can't go back in time. So going forward, what you should start next semester is when you meet your teacher the first day after class, whatever, you go ask if you can do extra work. Even if you don't want to do extra work, you just ask, can I do extra work? Now what happens if they let you do extra work?
Do it.
Huh?
Do it.
Well, what's going to happen is you're going to have extra credit, extra points, right? So you aren't going to have to worry that you're not going to get an A because you're doing more work. And the teacher's going to perceive you as somebody who cares, so the teacher's going to care. Now, that's what you should do in the future. Then what's going to happen is you're not going to ever say, you probably will never say, teacher, I think you made a mistake. You probably won't have to do that. But the thing to say is, teacher, I respectfully think that there was an error in my grade. Can I make an appointment to talk to you about it? They're not used to that. They're used to little kids saying, you're wrong. You made a mistake. Okay, but if you say, I respectfully think there's an error was made, can I make an appointment to see you and go over my test? Now they're going to perceive you as what? Power perceived as what? Right, they're going to perceive you as somebody who's above everyone else, right? Because everybody else is going to say, that teacher sucks, she gave me a bad grade. Right?
You just not get it.
But if you go to the teacher and say, you know, respectfully, teacher, I think you made a mistake, or I think there's an error, can I make an appointment to go over my grade? They're going to be like, whoa, this person, I want to talk to this person. Okay, next. You ask a question after school. Like what?
A question that you might not feel comfortable asking that students.
Okay. So how would you start that? Okay, you always start truthfully and honestly. I didn't feel comfortable asking this question in class. What you want to be perceived as is a good student who cares. That's what you want to be perceived as. Okay, just like you form opinions about your teachers, they do what?
They form opinions.
Okay, now what do you want their opinion to be of you to be like? Positive, right? You want them to get, this is a good student, this is somebody when I'm old, when they're my age, when this student is my age, and I'm an old person, I want to be proud that this person has become very successful because they have talent. That's how you want them to perceive you. You ask a favor from your teacher. Okay, what would be an example of that? You're giving me the blank look again. What would be an answer? Or what would that be?
Well, how does this apply? Because it might tie into something else. But,
Okay, just
like,
pretend it's a friend of yours.
like asking to leave class early because you have like some sort of appointment or something.
Okay. Anybody think of another example? Yeah.
If someone else is like, you can't focus on your work and when you're sitting next to someone, you can ask for a seat.
Okay. Anybody else have any other examples? Jessica? Do you have an example? An example of you ask a favor from your teacher? Okay, so what you might say is, well, you don't really want to do this. Okay, this is called begging. You don't want to beg. You always want to do an exchange. You want to do something and come back to reciprocity. So if you want a favor, you need to offer something first. If I do this, can I do that? Okay, if I stay late tomorrow, can I leave 5 minutes early today? Can I turn my, if I do 2 extra book reports, can I turn my paper in 1 day late? Something like that. So you always want to give something to people. The other side is begging. So at my regular job, when we have people that live at these homeless shelters, their life is about begging people for stuff. Hey, can I have a bus pass? Hey, you got an extra $1. Hey, do you have any extra clothes I can have? All they're doing is asking for stuff and they're not giving anything in return. What you want to do is give something first. Maybe you just give them a compliment, but it has to be sincere. More likely you want to offer them something. If you don't have anything, you might say, is there something I can do for you so that blank favor. Is there something I can do for you so that you can't, so that I can do this? So it's an exchange. You understand, Shakira?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the thing now. I want to work on our body language in the last 1 minute. Okay. So Jason, pretty good. Sits up straight, but he doesn't hold his pencil. Ah, he does. Okay, I didn't see it. Good. Okay, Shakira, what I want you to work on for next week is keep your hands out of your face. Okay, because what's the body language of this?
Scared.
I'm kind of hiding, right? Okay, so it could just be a habit that you want to make yourself bigger. So here we have, okay, so our TED Talks for next week. Okay, TED Talks. TED, 1, Sebastian. Sebastian Salm. Anybody know that name? Anybody ever hear of a connectome? So write that down, Sebastian Salm. Number 2, Amy Cuddy. She's a Harvard professor. Number 3, Kelly McGonagall. Anybody hear that name? Harry Potter? Okay. Number 4. Somebody must have heard of this if you went to Milton. Angela Duckworth. Angela Duckworth. Anybody hear of Angela Duckworth?
I went to Miller, but I never heard of it.
Growth mindset, grit. Okay. So these are the 4 I want you to do for next week. We're going to ask questions about them. These will change your life. This has to do with your brain, something called a connectome. Have you ever heard of a connectome? Amy Cuddy about body language. Kelly McGonagall about stress. Angela Duckworth about grit, being gritty. Okay, so Elia, do you have those? You have them written down? Do you know how to get to TED? Okay, so does anybody not know how to get to TED? Just go to TED.com. Now, do I have, okay, Shakira, you don't have email? No email?
I don't have email.
No email? Okay. Okay, just check. Jumpingfrog@hotmail.com? No? Oh.
That's my Chinese name.
Oh, jumping dog? What does it say? How do you pronounce this? J-I-O-P-E-N-G?
J-I-A-P-E-N.
J-I-A-P-E-N-G,
Yeah.
D-G-G.
D99.
Oh, D99. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay, Ariana Forever. Okay, got it. Okay. Jessica, L-I-02, Jessica Lee 02. Okay.
My Chinese name.
Okay. John Binshing.
Z-H-A-N-G-B-I-N-S-H-E-N-G.
Okay, too fast. 0428@gmail and 272420310
Do you?
at, what is that, GG? Or QQ? QQ, what is that?
It's a,
It's
it's a Chinese website.
Okay, okay, good. So I will send you, and I will try to text
Do you want me to?
Shakira.
Do you want me to?
You didn't write yours here?
Yeah, I did write my email.
Oh, yeah. You could pass it down. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for me? Yes.
Okay, it's pertaining for a question for Val.
Okay, too long, just ask the question.
Okay, when you're late for class,
Yeah.
and you said